Welcome back to Quick Picks with the Geek, and it's time for another betting strategy video. Today, we're not just picking winners, we're hunting for value. The goal is simple. Find the spots the odds makers might have leaned a little too hard one way, and see if we can squeeze a few dollars out of it. Now on a card like this, value usually lives right next door to risk. So yeah, we're gonna have to get a little uncomfortable. If you came here for safe bets, you clicked the wrong channel. We're chasing smart risks today. And if you haven't already, go check out my Quick Picks prediction video for this weekend's fights, plus the Deeper Thoughts video. Basically just the unfiltered inner monologue of a guy who definitely overthinks MMA. First up, the lock of the night. And look, this card is absolutely loaded with massive favorites. You could honestly throw a dart at the lineup and probably land on a minus 500 or higher. But the one I'm settling on is Ryan Gandra. He's sitting around a minus 720 favorite, and I'm not claiming to be a fortune teller here. This just looks like a pretty straightforward matchup. Jose is durable, but he fights like a heavy bag sometimes, and Ryan hits like he's trying to send a message to the insurance company. The wild part? At minus 720, he's not even the biggest favorite on the card. But here's the thing. When the odds get that wide, betting the money line is basically just a savings account with anxiety. There's no value there. So instead, I'd rather look at props. Ryan by KO TKO in rounds 1 or 2 is sitting around plus 165. Yeah, it's riskier because Jose is tough enough to survive bad decisions. Or you can go slightly safer with Ryan by KO TKO at plus 130. Still risky, but a whole lot more appealing than sweating minus 720 for pocket change. Sometimes the lock isn't about safety. It's about finding a smarter way to play the safety. Next up, the live dogs. This one was actually tough because there are two underdogs I keep coming back to, so we're rolling with both. First is Felipe Bunes at plus 240. I'll be honest, this is a low confidence swing. I do think Edgar Chairez probably has the cleaner striking, but I don't think this fight stays kickboxing range for very long. This feels like a clinch fight, and eventually a grappling fight, and if that happens, that's where Felipe has his window, especially if he can get on top. Positionally, he can cause problems. The big concern? Cardio. He looked pretty drained late in his last fight. So the hope here isn't a slow technical battle. The hope is he wins early minutes and either finds a finish or builds a lead before the gas tank becomes a problem. The second live dog is Macy Chiasson. She comes in at plus 146. Now here's the funny part. She's not even my official pick. I actually picked Aylin Perez, but my confidence in that pick is, let's call it cautious optimism. Two reasons. First, the size difference. Macy is huge for the division. Second, it's women's MMA, and let's be honest, a lot of these fights live dangerously close to coin flip territory. So sometimes when building parlays, I'll hedge against my own prediction purely for value and the what-if factor. I'm not saying bet the house on either of these. These are dogs. They're supposed to be uncomfortable. But on a card full of giant favorites, these are the kind of spots that can actually boost a payout if one hits. All right, now we get to the parlay of the night. And I'm not gonna lie, this card does not make it easy. When half the board is minus 600 or higher, you either accept tiny returns or you get creative. So this is what I'd call a medium risk, respectable value parlay. First leg, Silva versus Marshall over 1.5 rounds, minus 124. Francis Marshall just isn't a big finisher at this level. Yeah, he has 4 submissions, but those came in his first 4 regional fights. And the one knockout he does have? That opponent went 0-3 in the UFC and is no longer employed. That's not exactly a resume booster. In the UFC, Marshall's fights mostly go the distance. He's well-rounded, durable, and not reckless. On the other side, Eric Silva has found some early finishes, but against a lower tier of competition than what he's dealing with here. I don't see him running through Marshall the same way. And Silva himself is durable enough where I expect him to survive at least a round and a half, even if things aren't going his way. So this leg feels stable. Or at least, stable enough for me to convince myself it is. Second leg, Rodriguez versus Borjas over 1.5 rounds, minus 154. Now this one, way scarier. Rodriguez absolutely hunts early finishes. That's his whole vibe. But this bet is more about Borjas's toughness. I do think Imanol Rodriguez wins, but I also think Borjas is gritty enough to make him work for it. I don't see Borjas folding immediately. I think he drags this into deeper waters before anything decisive happens. Still risky. We're not pretending otherwise. Last leg, David Martinez moneyline, -330. Sometimes you just need one anchor. Martinez feels like the most reliable piece to stabilize everything else. Not sexy, not flashy, just solid. Put it all together, and the parlay comes out to +288. Is there risk? Absolutely. But on a card with -720, -750, -650 favorites everywhere you look, it's almost impossible to find value without accepting some sweat. This one at least gives us a sweat with upside. All right, that's the game plan for this weekend. Good luck on all your bets. Hopefully we cash something and don't spend the whole main event doing math trying to justify our decisions. And hey, after last weekend, we are definitely owed one by the MMA gods. Make sure you check out my full prediction video for the card, and if you want the truly unfiltered version of my brain, go watch the Deeper Thoughts video, where we don't just analyze fights, we overanalyze them. I'll be back next week with more bets, more value hunting, and probably more emotional damage. Until next time, this has been Quick Picks with the Geek, and let's see if we can finally beat the odds makers instead of donating to them.